ascension, descension. I always will say descension too, because it's pulling all of that into the body and holding it steady with the frequency and
Yeah, I love
it,
that.
right? And walking it. So it's a very unknown space. It also, like I can see in my reality, I see shifts and changes in my reality that I'm just really excited for, the way that we are talking, the way that we're working with each other. How
Hello and welcome.
are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? We figured it out. There's all new updates and new integrations going on. Seems
Yes.
very aligned with the energies of right now.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So, I mean, from my experience, the first of this, the fire horse was like, yeah, I'm getting pumped. Like, there's lots of energy riding through there. And now it just feels like it's all like, beep, 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 beep. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired.
Literally, literally. Do you know, like when you go to a family party and everyone's gathering and you're like, oh, hey, it's really nice. You're like in your bag. And then everyone starts to drink a bit more. And then you kind of look around and you think, oh, where do I go? Where am I meant to be? Who do I sit with? Like, what's going on? You know, it's like that unknown phase in between. Like, we kind of know we're meant to be here. We're all that are here now and all consciously awake and connected are all meant to be here right now. And anyone watching this, anyone understanding this, don't question if you're spiritual or if you're connected or if you're awakening or if you're ascending, because the fact that you're even understanding these conversations and thinking about this sort of thing means your soul is way online. I guess the way I differentiate it is those that are happy not questioning anything, not questioning the weather, not questioning the, things that might have come in 2020 and all them, that scenario that we all had played out, not questioning the schooling, not questioning the 9 to 5, not questioning any of it. If you haven't questioned any of it, then yeah, I'd probably be maybe thinking, what's going on here? But if you've questioned any of that, and if you're in the vibe of wondering and questioning about yourself and learning and healing, then you are definitely ascending. And I think sometimes it's just simplifying what that means, because people can overcomplicate it, over spiritualize it, as I call, put all this jargon terminology on it, when really, truly, it's just about if you're peeling back the layers of self, if you're peeling back the layers around you that are not aligning with you, and if you're moving forward to a more healed and more aligned version of you, that's awakening, that's ascension.
All right. I'm gonna say, what is your perspective on the ascension word?
Well, I guess the ascension word to me, obviously the human form is going up. That's what it instantly makes my human correlate to, is rising and, leveling up in some ways. But on a deeper level, I was thinking about this earlier, like it means so much more to what we're going through as a collective right now. And I remember being 16 thinking like, what a time to be alive. And I didn't know why. Now I know why, 12 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. Because what a time to be alive at this most pinnacle time of challenges, and we've been through darkness and we've waded through it, and some people are still there, and I hear it, I get it. But wow, what a time to be alive in a place where we are all ascending. And I guess what that means is, if we even look back a year, 5 years, 10 years, look at the conversations we even can have. Look at the conversations we can have with taxi drivers and people in the supermarket, and there's friends and family that would have absolutely thought we were loop a few years ago that are now bringing that stuff up to us. Oh, did you see that? Oh, have you heard about that? Oh, you shouldn't be eating that. Oh, don't be drinking that. All these things that we have been seed planting for all these years are finally growing. And I guess that's what ascension looks like to me. It's the seeds that have been planted through wherever and whoever throughout the years that are now actually growing, which are allowing people to grow out of the restricted human, out of the 3D. And I don't mean that in the judgment way. I mean the thickness, the heaviness, the falsification that we were taught to believe, the bounding in this kind of metaphysical prison that we'd created in his own brain from his own constructs of creation, what we thought was true. So we created it in his own reality. It's breaking out of that and being able to rise into who you truly are, into the life you're meant to be living. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it's still not happened for all of us in this miracle sense. Like, you don't just ascend one day. It's not how it works. But you change your perspective, and that allows everything to be different and to kind of envelope different in your life. Once you change your perspective, everything shifts in your reality. And I think that's the key of ascension, is perspective shift.
there is right there at the end. That's what I would say.
Mm,
Perspective shift, seeing something in a different
yeah,
perspective. And also for me, it's just I am naturally seeing more of myself and stepping into more of
yeah.
myself. I'm remembering more of myself. I have the ability to uniquely step in every facet of my body that feels aligned for myself. And going into all of those deep spaces that I have all the way up until now are now a big part of me, and they get to walk alongside with me. Right.
No, that's really beautiful. I love that. It's like the alignment piece and like the wholeness. You know, we were walking round. How could we expect ourselves to be ascended and awakened, living in pure pain, living in that inner child torment, living in that cycles of, concurrent. And it's different when it's just one or two that pop up now. Because I'm not saying we don't experience them, we do, we all do. There's going to be triggers and moments where you're like, ooh, the macaroni. However, instead of living in that 24/7, living in this trigger to this trigger to this trigger because we don't know how to unravel them, how to heal them, how to sit with the inner child, how to reparent, how to heal and release, because we didn't know how to do that. We were just circling all the time and sitting in it and staying in it and, not knowing how to expand. Get the fuck out of there. It's been really nice, I think, to have that wholeness, like you said, sense of wholeness with all the aspects of self, being able to walk with us rather than stuck in them trauma loops, and then us being stuck in them trauma loops in return.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's it's a very I love this version of self because it's I have all of those parts and pieces, all the trauma pieces that have been there. I don't need to stay with them or stay stuck in them. It's just they're going to walk with me. It's going to be a natural integration. It's going to be a part of my unique creativity and my canvas that I walk with.
Yeah, love that though. Because I read something the other day and it was like, what if, I can't remember the wording, but what if middle age or what if getting to 30 is just loving who you was when you were a teenager, but actually accepting her now? And I was like, that's really cool, because that kind of cheesy version of us, because obviously you have to accept the little child in you, but I guess that is a little bit more of an undeveloped version that's not fully independent and
Right.
exploring and creative. And, it's different when you're a young adult. It's like the world's your oyster, depending on where you were at that time in life. And the energy feels like things are possible. There's options, there's choice, there's creation. And the choices that we were making then, we were usually judging ourselves or shaming ourselves or we didn't fit in, we didn't belong. So we kind of got rid of all them little unique magical parts that made us sparkly and different and made herself this kind of carbon copy, all of us to fit in. And now it's like you say, it's that unraveling and the acceptance of all them different parts, but also not allowing that to shift us into this imposter syndrome and shift us into this feeling like we don't belong, because it's huge. Like, me and you talk about this a lot. And every time I'm planning a big event, a retreat, a gathering, whatever it is, God, I have to sit with this one every time. You know, every single time it comes up because it's expansion. When you're expanding, you have to sit with the parts of you that don't feel like you're capable of doing that. And imposter syndrome's a big one. And I guess sometimes it kind of is what it says on the tin, but how have you experienced that? What do you relate to imposter syndrome?
Ooh, this is a big one on the table. I want to say that I feel like for me in my experience, my trauma parts definitely like pulled up into that imposter syndrome. I didn't even know what was happening until I dove deeper into it, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at that!" I didn't even know it until I stepped further back. I zoomed back. I did a little more healing, and it was definitely a lot of like, not even I can't do it. It's just like I didn't.
Yeah,
Like I didn't
yeah,
even try
I get
it
that.
because it was
Yeah,
so
I get that.
shattered. So.
Prevention, like stopping yourself. Yeah, I get that. That was the thing for me too. For me, it's like I'm so stubborn. I think it's that Aries, triple, double, triple rising, whatever going on there. There's so much Aries, I don't know what to do with it, put it that way. And, it's like there'll be parts of me that don't think I can do it and are terrified. But that stubbornness inside of me that's like, yeah, well, watch me, I'll do it. That bit just leads the show and it gets me in really situations that then later on down the line I'm having full-on palpitations and panic attacks over because this version of me was like, yeah, watch, let's go. But then the inner versions of me are like, actually, hang on a minute, can we do this? Are we capable? What are we going to do? We're not prepared. Oh, we can't control this, and all these other versions start coming up. And a big part of it is obviously you're not worthy. I'm not worthy. That's a huge part of it that comes up. Like, how am I capable? How is this going to work? Am I going to pull it off? Am I going to be, all these other questions that come into the play of doubt. And where does the doubt come from? Because I don't feel solid and confident and solid in that worth. Like, yeah, I know I'm good enough. I know I can do this, And again, part of me does. That's why I even have the vision to go. Created a whole catastrophe there. Oh, that was funny. Literally created a catastrophe in the office there. But yeah,
There is no,
adding to that, yeah, the visions are there for a reason. They exist for a reason, but
yeah.
that doesn't mean that the other parts of us are not going to crop up along the way as we are kind of expanding to deliver that.
Absolutely. And this at least for me, it's very new terrain. So my body is experiencing the expansion, like I'm growing, these ideas are coming in, I'm grounding them, I'm embodying them. And then it's like, what is this? What are we doing? Who said this was going to be a thing? And then it pulls from some old paradigms because it's the only thing that it knows, right? It hasn't built this new structure yet. Um,
Hmm.
and that's where the imposter syndrome can come in. That's where like the failure of self-doubt can come flying back in. And I'm like, oh, look at that. My body's like, look, but I know that one. So
This is familiar. Let's work with this. Yeah,
what's that?
exactly.
So then it's
Exactly.
kind of like going back into the nervous system and going, hey, this is unknown. That's okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're just gonna write it. And writing it, I'd have to say, at least over the last few weeks is where I've been. I'm just like, okay, I
Yeah.
have no clue.
I
You know?
love the avoidance there. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard. And I love what you said there, like about it almost like opened a door for me in my brain the way you explained that. And that was really cool because it shows you where them pathways are formed. It's not that you've been waiting to pull it out or you chose to go back there consciously. Like that's not usually the case. It is more so that bridge hasn't been built. So as we're putting the foundations down, we're putting like, oh, does this work? Is this right? Where does this go? Where does and obviously them older foundations that were maybe instilled from parents or childhood or school or social environment, wherever you absorb that feeling of not being worthy, not feeling a belonging, not feeling a sense of I am good enough and I do internally see that and embody that until that's kind of built as a structure. And again, it might never be 100% there, but in all aspects, because you might have it in one and then another one comes on, and then you go all over again,
Each
rebuilding.
step of that bridge, you're like,
Hmm.
oh, look,
Hmm.
there's something there. And I've definitely
Yeah.
felt that too. And I've definitely also, made these bridges where I'm like, okay, this is there. I'm feeling confident in it. And then like on the other side, I'm like, wow, definitely, I don't know what's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, the bridge is an interesting word that's been popping up a lot lately.
It is. I think it's because we are in like we've been waiting so long throughout this time, of awakening, of ascension, whatever you want to call it. And we've all been knowing so much knowledge, doing the work, connecting in on the inside, but not seeing much physical change in the physical realm. And that is shifting now as we have started to see this year and late into last year. That is shifting massively. And so we are physically now almost walking the bridge. We've been building it. We've been
Totally.
building it with all the knowledge, with all the support, with all the wisdom, with all the questions and the rebellion and the choices to stay in sovereignty. Every tiny choice of them was building a new layer to that bridge to allow not just us, but those behind us that maybe didn't have that same confidence, strength, vision, choice to do that role in Earth that are now just able to walk through that pathway because we've actually built that bridge, not just honestly me and you, the whole of the collective that's been doing this work, it's been huge. And that's going back to what I said earlier about the time to be alive on earth. Like, what a time. We are literally breaking the mold, rebuilding something completely new. None of us have a clue what it's going to look like. We're just working on a frequency that we've been receiving of a connection, of a truth, of a sovereignty, of something that is not based upon solely love and light, but is in a way higher vibrational timeline than we've been experiencing before, because we get the connection. And once you know you're connected to them and them and them, you're not going to be causing each other harm because you know it's a reflection back onto you. And so it's that change in perspective again that allows the new pathways and the new bridges to be built, not just in us, around us, which allows everybody else to build more. And that creates the new earth. And I think that is the point. That is the challenge of being here at this time. But I guess what's been different for me is whilst building this bridge over all these years, there was a real period of time for me between 2020 and 2021 where everything felt completely amplified, turned up to the max. There was no not doing the mission, the role, what I was here to do on Earth. And I had never felt so clear. You know, I had like literally 2020 vision. I had so clear on what I was meant to do, what I was here to be doing. That's when the vision for the first retreat came to me. It didn't end up happening until a couple of years later, but all these new things and ideas pathways were forming for me in 2020. And obviously, I'd been a medium and a psychic tarot card reader for years before that. But then at that point, it started to shift a little bit into more quantum, higher dimensional realms of healing and regression and channeling and all different types of work. And I guess over the years, as then it got into 2022, it kind of shifted for me. I always had that connection that was always there if I needed to know anything, if I needed to ask questions. You know, we've been doing videos throughout that time, so it's always been there. But I've expressed to you guys and to you, Z, that I felt spirit kind of pulled back a little bit, and other mediums said the same thing. It felt like they kind of pulled back a little bit for us to do our own internal work. And that was the same for like my connection to that spiritual realm. I felt like I was so in that world for so long that I had to learn how to be a human. I had to learn, it sounds so funny to say out loud, but I had to learn how to embody all this stuff that I'd been learning and actually integrate it into my human being, into my body. If we want to ascend together, kind of both got to be on the same page, you know? And I guess that's what I perceive that we've been doing is aligning the mind, body, and soul and the spirit into this kind of whole union. But along that way now, it feels like we've got to a certain level in his bodies that we are able to then bring back that amplified connection on a way deeper level. But also his bodies are like, okay, I don't really know what to do this right now. You know, it's like, okay, what's going on? Like it's an acceptance and a familiarity, but also I'm not used to this level of energy. I'm not used to this level of frequency. And, you know, we used to be used to it, but we've shifted out of that for a little bit and it's amplified and it's different and his bodies are more receptive. So yeah, I guess that's the best way I can kind of put it into human words because I'm kind of struggling because I'm still processing it. But it feels like a reintegration of familiar energy that I've felt before with that firehorse kick, but also like that rebirth energy around the equinox time coming up of the earth kind of going into its next chapter, bringing us into that next chapter with it. But also then the integration of the embodiment between the mind, body, soul, spirit, and everything actually aligning into more of a whole piece. That's, yeah, kind of the best words I've got.
Like that's a journey right there.
I'm like, I'm really trying to shorten it, but that's kind of the best I'm getting right now. So I'm going to just stop there.
No, no, no. I heard it completely. I want to say during that period, that was very similar to me. I was very, very deep
Mhm.
in that essence, very much so in the medium type ship stuff, but I was very deep in my shamanic work. And
Yeah.
that was 24/7, all the same stuff,
Hold on.
right? Walk it, live it, breathe it. And then it took a turn
Hmm.
into like, okay, you better actually walk it, talk then. You better walk
Literally.
it for real.
Really.
Gonna take it fully into the body. And then it's been
Hmm.
embodiment for a few years and trying to pull these into the body and work the frequency in a way that our bodies can actually understand it and hold it and work with it. And then heading into this facet of things, like the body is understanding that like it can do that. And we've been embodying it and holding it for a long
Yeah.
time. But now it's like it's this pure creation energy where the body's like, yes. So I've got that
Hmm.
now. I don't, so it keeps, at least for me and my body, it just keeps kind of pulling in all these facets that it has known, and then of course deconstructing them like you would on the bridge as they come in, because we're still moving through some of these phases here to get into this new spot, this new space, the newer space, or whatever you want to call it, and then deconstructing
Hmm.
those, and then building that, and I always like ascension, descension. I always will say descension too, because it's pulling all of that into the body and holding it steady with the frequency and
Yeah. I love
it,
that.
right, and walking it. So it's a very unknown space. It also, like, I can see in my reality, I see shifts and changes in my reality that I'm just really excited for. The way that we are talking, the way that we're working with each other, the way that, like, I even go to the dentist, and it's not like before. I had a lot of dentist trauma when I was younger. And heading into the dentist now, and like it's not like a shame space, it all just seems at a whole new level of the reality, right?
Right. Right. I get that. Yeah, and that's kind of, I love that word that you worded it, a whole new level of the reality, because it's like, it is a new layer, like as much as the energy is familiar from before,
Yeah.
it's still different. And I think that's why my body's kind of like freaking out a little bit. It's
Okay.
also very exhausted. My body's tired. I'm definitely in that. Okay, I'm not used to channeling this much. I'm not used to feeling spirit this much. I'm not used to seeing spirit this much. I'm not used to clearing and releasing and doing all this that I was doing years ago. But I guess at the level, like, because we were still doing work in between that time, like we're now doing other things too, constantly reflecting and healing and processing. And like you said, doing all that inner work additionally to the outer spiritual work, inner, outer, same thing, in that sense, it's kind of both. And yeah, I guess it's learning how to hold those frequencies for all, because I know for me speaking, being a mum to two kids under three, well, one's two, one's one, and having seven animals, four cats and three dogs, and just living that human life of running, the energies, the business, the connections, and then having a normal human life and trying to maintain all the basic human needs and getting out in nature and grounding. And it just feels like my body is panicking a little bit of how am I going to integrate all of this into
Yeah.
this already existing overflowing whilst trying to regulate my nervous system on a daily basis. It is, I guess I am experiencing resistance and fear of how it looks and how I'm going to navigate it and
Yeah.
what it's going to feel like and blah, 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 all them human questioning emotions. And I'm just kind of riding the wave, like you say. I've been there with you. Kind of doesn't feel like the dark night riding the wave. I'm definitely not there,
Yep. Yep.
but I'm not like living in my higher timeline right now. I'm definitely getting there. I feel moments of it and peaks of it and beautiful moments of highlights and frequencies. But then there is still then peaks of, okay, I've got to embody this. I've got to expand through this. I've got to sit with this. I've got to work through this, whatever layer this is that's coming up. And, really use them tools and skills we've been learning over the past few years to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I I could feel I really do feel this higher space and it is beautiful. I can feel it for myself. My body can feel it, which feels really good. I can perceive it in my reality. It's coming into my actual reality. And then, there's parts and pieces that come in where I'm like, boom, okay.
Mhm.
Excuse me. But I have to take
I'm
a
just going to take a sabbatical.
I know exactly.
No, I feel that. I feel that I literally have this drive of wave of energy and motivation and all this vision. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, maybe tomorrow. Like it really just shifts and changes so fast at the moment. The visions are there, the ideas are there, the creation energy is there, but then the actual effort to follow through and physically finish it is I'm struggling with it. I'm not going to lie, but I just trust that everything will fall into divine alignment. And there's been a desire to create art and jewelry and like been working with clay and, doing things like that again. And I really haven't done that for a long time. So that's been nice, just small things. And I've been creating really loads of routine, which is so, if you knew me, I don't know who I am anymore. No, I do not know. Because I make a weekly routine apparently now. And it's actually really helpful. It really helps. Just having the human knowing and like some form of human preparation in life. It allows the flow of the spiritual stuff to come in at like rather than searching for time and I need time for me, I need time to clean, I need time to do. It's like everything kind of has its own time now. So then it allows for more of a spiritual flow in between them things because everything's kind of got a place or a role or a time. And yeah, like I said, I was anti-routine, anti all of that. That was not me. I was work up with the wind and flow with it kind of gal. But yeah, life's changed. And it really feels nice to embody this difference of still going to get up and go with the flow. If I don't feel that vibe, we ain't going and we're going to go do something else. However, having the basic plan in place is really good for my human self, to again aligning all them aspects into a more whole version of us that allow every version of us a seat at the table, which gives them a voice So whether that is the inner child, the inner teen, the adult self that needs to just be professional and rein it in for a minute and keep the show rolling, or whether it needs to be the playful self, the creative self, the sensual self, the traumatized self that just needs to have a little meltdown right now, whatever's going on, because there's many of them. But it's allowing them all to have a seat at the table and a voice to be heard, because those that are on a lower frequency, I hate to even use that terminology, those that are experiencing different things that we don't really want to experience in this now moment, if we give them a voice, usually 9 times out of 10, it allows them to be heard, seen, appreciated, acknowledged, and allows that emotion to be released in the overall. So, giving them a voice is really important, I would say.
Yeah, I've definitely been working
Hmm.
with that. A voice and just being witnessed right now too. Like
Hmm.
had a lot of that come through where I've had just some big parts and pieces integrating and embodying and just to have a moment to breathe and be like, oh, I like this is ready to come out. But I've also been interconnecting with more co-creative people and working in that
Yeah,
space where they're in the same walk, right? We're just walking it step by step and they've got something coming up and I'm like, yep, I'm just going to be in presence with that and witness it. And that's all it needs. And it starts to move and vice versa. And I
love
found
that.
that to be a very beautiful space for me. But I've
Yeah, I
also,
love that.
yeah, it's been great. I also have been just, and I do a lot of fire work. I build a lot of fires. I love that space. Very deep, respectful, loving space for me. And it is just like, okay, I'm gonna go get the wood now. I'm gonna cut it. Okay, here's the anchor point. Right, I gotta light the fire.
Hmm.
Okay, oh look,
Yeah,
here's another anchor point. There's another piece of wood. Okay, and that I found that to be like so useful in my routine of just going, okay, I'm gonna go
love that.
get the wood, I'm gonna get this done, I'm gonna get this anchored. It doesn't mean I have to have it all done, doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect.
Hmm.
I have lots of visual things and things moving in my space too, just like you, a lot of creative projects that I'm working on. And there's parts and pieces to those where I'm like, I am so excited I've got and then it's like, Not time for that anchor. So, where's my next piece of wood?
It's not just
Because it's
me.
not right there, right?
Yeah, it's not just me. Then that makes me feel a lot better.
Yep. Yep. It's always okay. And then that imposter syndrome or the failure, the doubt can come running in through that piece. And it's like, ooh, breath there. I'm gonna take a breath here,
Yeah,
get my next piece of wood
right.
because it's not time for that. And that's how my body's like understanding, right, it's not time for that anchor point yet. That needs to breathe. That's part of the alchemy, right?
Hmm.
I don't need to do anything
Hmm.
with that. But I might make a point here. I might do a little research on this, or I might talk to
Yes.
my co-creative partner on certain ideas that maybe we could talk
Hmm.
about so that the ideas are anchored in. And then as soon as it's
Right.
time to take the action point, like it's there to go, you know?
100%. Like, that's so important. And I do think that's so, for me, I'm not gonna lie, mine's my AI. It's like my little best friend sometimes. I
Heck
have
yeah.
all my little tabs and all my little, right, this idea, I've got this idea, write this down, I've got this vision, I've got this, and it's great because, like you say, anchor points. When I've got the vision, I literally just ask it, like, bring up that idea that we had about this, and then I can take action on it. But yeah, like we were saying, for me, the witnessing, like I say, for me, it's the same, giving them a voice, see, but not always to other people. Like, that's what I've learned lately, because sometimes that's more damaging. I know we knew that, but I guess sometimes you hope that everybody's learning and healing at the same pace you are, and it's not always the case. And you have to really assess who, what, where, why, when, how. Is it all right? Assess the vibe, and that is a tricky thing to do. But even sometimes asking point blank, are you able to hold space for me right now? Because I've experienced a lot myself. I've seen close friends that have tried to ask other people for support and been met with really harsh judgment, shut down. And like that's so damaging, for their journey, for what, if it's been happening to me, whatever. And I guess it just kind of made me sit with that we are getting there, but we're not quite there. And it is important that you choose wisely. If you are, when I meant the term giving them a voice, for me, it's more in your own self. So, like, I'm one that used to, for a while, people pleasing, feeling like a burden, feeling like too much, all them categories of things you can imagine. The list goes on. So that would mean all them versions of me that needed to speak, needed to be heard, needed by me mainly, needed acknowledging by me, needed me to put boundaries in place, needed me to say, actually, no, I'm tired. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Actually, no, I'm uncomfortable. All them times. That was the time I needed to give these versions of me a voice. for myself, not necessarily even for anyone else to tell them, oh, it was more for me to be heard inside me. And that's where I think the pain comes from. I was talking to a lovely, beautiful girl today. She's only young though. She's just gone 18 and she's really angry with someone in her life and really angry with the situation. And we broke it down step by step and we got to the root of it. And I was like, so really actually who you're angry with?
Uh-huh.
And she sat with it. And I was like, because I don't mean this in any way to shame you or victim blame. No, no, no. I understand the frustration. I get it. I feel it. I relate to it. I see it. And I see why you don't feel like you have a choice. Totally understand. I see all that. But if we look at it fully, who is actually angry and at who? And then when she looked at it, it was herself that is angry at herself for not being heard, not listening, not acknowledging, not seeing the options, the choice, not seeing why she didn't feel like she could say no, not seeing why it felt like a burden, not seeing all these different things. And just to be heard in a little self, to actually say, actually, maybe no, I don't need to do this next time. Maybe no, I can listen to myself and not do that. You know, and that was so powerful for her to just realize she's not actually angry at all these people. She thought she was angry at. It was her inner self being mad at herself. And it's a really harsh, but strangely healing acknowledgement to have. It's like, oh shit, I'm not, it's no one to blame but me. It's a really strange realization because they are contributing to this hurt 100%, but they are not the sole root of it, you know?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Those are the deep, deep spaces where it's so
Mhm.
vulnerable. It's like, I don't take accountability. Oh, Uh, and what you were kind of leading into a little bit earlier, that discernment phase, which I think we're massively in right now, discerning who we can trust, what we can trust, ourselves, of course, first and foremost in the space. But of course, as humans, we're very co-creative group. We're very co-op, we co-regulate, right? That's how our bodies are made. An unfortunate experience for me going up, and it's fortunate too. It's both. It's all the things. I separated myself from humans for a very long time to work my own process, and that was my body saying, "Look, I'm dying now because I have to be by humans. I don't do well without humans. Come to find out, that's necessary in the space."
No,
So,
I get that. I do get that. I really do relate to that. I've really struggled even to go food shopping lately. And it's not, I love people, I love humans. I don't know, the energy just feels a bit whoa right now. Like I don't know what the words are. It's just
sure.
it's a lot.
I don't
It's a
think there is
lot.
words for that. No, I
Mm.
get that too. It's like one of those,
Hmm.
like, oh man, and trying to navigate those and trying to find a very safe space for your body or nervous system, but also to really see who in the space would are good connections to even walk alongside
Mm.
or hold space with. And
Mm.
I have a few. I very much so trust them. We've been doing it for a while, but um, the body is understanding who it can do that with, who it can't. What's a safe space? What's not a safe space? And
Truly.
like being
Mm.
able to work that because there's so many, how many spaces have we all been in here where like it's just not been safe? We
Right. And
said
we've gone,
something,
oh, so
like,
tell me,
oh
or
man,
see, yeah.
the big
Yeah,
mistake.
literally. And you thought it was safe, but it was not safe. And that's the thing. It happened so many times to me, especially in the spiritual community. There's no diss to anyone or anything. It's just
Yeah,
happened a lot. Like, because you think that they have your perspective, you're like, oh, they think like me, they get it. So you're a lot more open and trusting than you would be with someone that didn't have them kind of conversations because you believe that they get it. And then, yeah, I've experienced a lot of even just hurt more than anything. And lack of, I don't know, I just guess I did think I was quite naive a while ago. I thought everyone had the same kind of innocence and nice intention that I have to everyone, you know, I'm just la di da di da. And I realised that, yeah, that's really not always the case with people. And you have to be guarded and you have to, you know, I've noticed lately you have to match. I don't mean you don't have to do anything. I've learned that sometimes I have to do this. Let me just rephrase that for a second. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But lately, you know, I let go of a lot of the over defensive fire that I didn't need. It was more of a protection thing that I'd created over the years. And then I kind of was afraid to use the fire because I'd used it too much. And so it was like finding the balance. And then the other day, someone came to fix my car and he was really mean. He was really like arsey and really nasty comments. And I just was like, it was funny though. He was like, Jaws, leave your car unlocked. I was like, bro, it's an electric car. When you move near it with the key, it opens. I was like, it's not unlocked. She just unlocked it by walking to it. But it was so arsey and like really. And so
uh-huh.
I met him there. I was like, listen, I don't care what you do, how you do it, just fix my car for tomorrow. And I would never speak to anyone like that. I am so I literally, do you want a cup of tea? Do you need, you know, like, you're all right. Like, really nice human too. You're nice to me, I'm nice to you. All the love, I'll meet you, the kindness first. But for some reason, my energy just matched him there. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, right, all right, love you, yeah, chat, 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 chat. And I thought, isn't that funny? I just reflected back to you in one comment. There wasn't only one comment I made. And like I said, it was not natural for me. I would never do that. Usually, I would never meet them at that level. But my energy just switched there and then switched right back to my level. But it was almost like a mirror for a quick second. It was like, yeah, look at what you're actually reflecting. Do you like that? No, well, then let's not do that. And then it just changed
Yep.
instantly.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That's
then we had a great chat, and then he sorted out my car, and he was fine. We was chatting about his wife and so, and he was actually okay. He was stressed, he was cold, he was having a long day, and I understand that. But no, it was not acceptable. My energy was like, no, no, no,
yeah.
let's not, you know. And it was literally just a mirror, quick mirror, like look, and he stopped instantly. And I found that really interesting because it wasn't even intentional, but it instantly switched the vibration of the encounter to actually a very pleasant one compared to the initial energies.
Of course. Of course.
Mm.
That's amazing. I've had a few experiences like that lately that have just like boggled.
Yeah,
Hey, look at that. Quick flip there. And I feel like that's also the bridge, right? That's the bridge
right.
energy right there. You're like, oh, well, here we go. Do a quick flip
Mm-hmm,
here. But
mm-hmm.
that allows the reference point for the frequency match.
Yep,
Right.
yep. It allows the resonance, and I totally love that. I totally love that, Z, because without that, they've got no connector. It's like in the dark trying to find where am I going. And it sounds ridiculous because again, we're not telling you to lower down to that level. We're not telling you to go and be mean to people and da da da. And we're not even telling you to be a mirror if that's not what you're called. I did not intentionally do that. It was simply an involuntary momentary thing that just I noticed it. I noticed myself switch, but I also noticed it switch straight back up. And because I'd already noticed I were in defense from the initial encounter, so I noticed I were on guard. And then all of a sudden it was just there. And like you say, that reflection, that mirror, it allows them opportunity. That could have gone either way. We could have ended up having a little argument in the garden. You know, there's always a ground of boundaries and reflection of self. I'd have just walked away. But the essence was, I guess I don't usually choose that path because I avoid conflict, don't like to again create blah, 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 blah. But this time it just felt like the only path to go because it wasn't even a choice. And again, it was not a big deal. It was not a huge thing, but I just noticed the shift in the timeline instantly. And I have noticed that sometimes it goes back to us always this point that we cannot always be love and light. It does not always create the new work because sometimes people don't resonate with that because they don't know what it is. They haven't lived it, they haven't embodied it, they haven't felt it, they haven't received it. So how can they just go, oh yeah, love and light? It's not there for them. So you have to kind of, if you're going to be that seed planter, then sometimes you know, the places I planted seeds and the people and the frequencies, my word. But I don't regret any of it. I
Yep.
don't.
Yep.
I'm glad I did every tiny little bit of it. Whether it worked or not, it's fine. It's their choice. But I know that wasn't selective in my crowd. I just threw them wherever they needed to land. And that's the point. It's kind of like we also receive like that. We also give and we receive like that. And it's just guess riding it and trusting that where we are right now is exactly where we're meant to be. It is an honor to be alive at a time like this. I also feel extremely grateful to know people like you, people like Honey, people like all the people I met throughout this time, you know, Abby and Mark and all of them, even those that I don't stay in contact with. I am truly blessed to have met these souls that were brave enough. And I don't mean that other people weren't, but it is a weird thing to talk online about stuff that most people would have institutionalized you for 10 years ago. So it's a whole new thing, you know, it's a ride. But it's a beautiful time to be here with you all, surrendering to wherever the wind's going to blow us all like little dandelions, landing where we land and growing where we grow, and just allowing this all to bloom. I am truly blessed, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of it with everybody that's watching it, and even making this possible for us to do these videos because people watch them, you know, and so I'm grateful for all of it, and I'm grateful for this time in life and for how far we have actually gotten. We have never, ever gotten this far as the human race collective in ascending in a human body. So this is something in itself to be unbelievably proud of because we've already tipped the scales into we are ascending in this body, in this earth, in this dimensional plane we're going. So there's no choice. We're on the train. And so that in itself is magical and powerful. And if there is any fear going on in your life right now about what's going on around you, there is a lot, and I hear it and I see it and I get it. just remember that vision of where we're going and what we were just talking about the mirror with that guy. This is maybe a little bit of a bigger reflection of that, about what's been going on, what has been in the earth, what needs to be seen, to be let go of, to be released so that we can rebuild new. So try and hold on to the safety and the connection of feeling safe inside, because that's going to create a connection of safety in the earth.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And again, for everybody here, like these are perspectives here. We always encourage you to have your own, question it, take a look at all the things running through there. And going through processes, we all go through them. It's okay. So I just want to tell everybody, like, it's okay if you're in one of those deep spaces, it's okay to be there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've only just come out of one.
Yeah, it's it always felt good to me to know that like I wasn't alone in the space when I was diving into something that deep, right?
100%. And you're not alone. I love that, Z. None of them are alone. We're not alone. We've all got each other, even if it's on an astral level.
Absolutely. And honestly
Mm.
for me too, and just kind of to reiterate like what you said earlier, for me with connections and people, I did not find that in the spiritual group. I always had there was always a lot of things that did not feel safe in the spiritual groups. And that isn't no offense or anything like that. The love of
Yeah,
that, I know there's no offense in that. That has its place. But for
yeah,
me,
it does.
the deepest connections that I found were outside of that group,
Me
right?
too.
Just
Me
really
too. The
real.
most expansive.
Yeah.
Real. You hit the nail.
Exactly.
We've got to be real. We've got to be able to
Yeah,
sit
real
there,
as fuck.
chatting away, you doing you, me doing me, and as real raw human. Not, I'm gonna say not sipping kombucha, but I actually like kombucha. But the point is, it's not the spiritual aesthetic. Like there is no such thing. Roll with you, embody that, and that's your spiritual aesthetic, and I don't mean that again in target to anyone or anyone watching this. It's just I also fell into that a little bit, you know. Even with that, I guess I did fall into it a little bit because I guess I was looking for who I am. And even though I found that in the spiritual community, I think I had to show the world that, like by how I dressed and what I looked like. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I still wear my little hippie pants, but it was like my whole identity had to be that because I am a spiritual person, so I had to appeal. Whereas now it just feels like I'm just cool with being me, whatever that is. I didn't really need to look like anything other than whatever I'm feeling that day. And I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I love that. Same with me.
We're
That's
getting there, girl.
my type.
But there's
Same with
exciting things coming on a human level. We have got a really exciting, beautiful retreat coming. Surrender and Serenity. This is from the last retreat. And just look, I just find that little beam of rays of light amazing. But yeah, the details are coming up September, Greece. If you're feeling the call, come join us. I don't really feel like there's much more to say. It's going to be transformational, activational, nervous system, reconnecting. There's limited spaces. There's only about 14 places, and there's already 3 or 4 of them that are preliminary taken. So there is very limited spaces. So if you are interested to come and join us lovely ladies and another wonderful lady that will be getting on at some point, to truly transform, like this is not a rest holiday. You will rest. There will be time for resting and serenity, but we are going to be surrendering and we go through the deep end and back out again. This is I'm struggling to find the words because it's going to
it's
be
back into wholeness
deeply.
and embodiment, right? Right?
Yeah,
It's we're gonna take
yeah,
it into the dive. We're gonna kind of denature your body just for a second so you can see yourself truly and come back the other side and come into wholeness. So
yeah, yeah, truly. It's going to be absolutely magical. We will be doing a retreat video with all the information. We'll be having all the facilitators and a couple of guests and things like that on there, and all the details and information will be coming. So do keep posted. Drop your email in the email down below if you are interested in registering your interest first, because again, first come, first serve. But yeah, and there's also a workshop day in the UK as well coming up in summer, which is going to be doing a lot of recoding, reprogramming, and that's going to be in West Yorkshire. So if you are feeling the call for that, it's just going to be a day's workshop, but it's going to be truly timeline jumping stuff. So if you are interested, do drop us an email because it's going to be awesome. But yeah, guys, it's been an honour to be in touch with you, Z, and explore the realms today of different boundaries, different feelings in self, imposter syndrome, and all the navigations of where we actually are right now in this bridge building, bridge walking phase, I guess. It's like the finishing the building and the beginning of the walking. And it's very unknown and it's very beautiful at the same time. But yeah, it was a real honour to talk about this today with you. Thank you.
thank you so much. And also too, I've had a request for us to talk about the timelines and the shifting and all of that. So I think
Yes.
we're going to put that on there and how that actually interworks with our realities and how we have our own
Oh,
perspective on
yes.
it.
That sounds really
Go
fun.
deep into those spaces.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I can't wait for that. I'm so excited.
Well, guys, we love you so much. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Peace.